Howdy, and welcome back to Celebrating Vintage Model Kits. Looking at another Revell kit, this one from 1962. This is the North American F-100C Super Sabre. It's in a box scale of 1/70th scale. Kit number is H12779, originally issued in 1956. And this version of the kit has box art by the great Jack Linwood. So the Super Sabre was the first U.S. Air Force fighter that was able to achieve Mach 1 in level flight. And I believe it may have been the first production in-service fighter anywhere in the world that was able to achieve Mach 1 in level flight. There may be a few other contenders for it, but I think the Super Sabre was in service just before some of the other ones. So originally, it was a development from the F-86, and they were trying to get some more speed out of it, and so they were developing a project called Sabre 45, which incorporated a 45-degree swept-back wing. They started changing more and more stuff on it, and then ended up submitting an unsolicited proposal to the U.S. Air Force in 1951. They, of course, got very excited about it because the F-86 Sabres were dogfighting with MiG-15s, which came as a surprise, how well the MiG-15s were performing. So the Air Force was very excited to get something that had, higher performance than the F-86. So it originally was supposed to be an air superiority fighter, and the Air Force said, yeah, let's go for it. So the development of it used a new technique where rather than developing a prototype and working out the kinks and then going to the production, there was a new process that they were going to try out, which was, hey, let's just start production and we'll fix things on the production line as we figure it out. Well, that didn't work out so well. And the initial F-100A, the first flight was on 25 May 1953. They immediately had a lot of problems with it. There was a lot of problems in stability with yaw. They had some inertial coupling issues, which created what then later became known as the Sabre dance, where the aircraft would go into these uncontrolled pitch and gyrations, and that resulted in a lot of aircraft being lost, including famous pilot George Welch was killed testing the YF-100 due to that inertial coupling. And so the aircraft entered service 27th September 1954. It was almost immediately grounded in November until fixes were made because the planes were crashing. And so it was released back into service again in February 55. But they constantly had a lot of problems with these. This was not an easy aircraft to fly. The Tactical Air Force for U.S. Air Force requested a fighter bomber version of this, and wanted to see if North American could put hard points on the wings to be able to develop into a fighter bomber, and also, of course, delivery of a special ordnance. And so that resulted in the F-100C. So they were able to put some hard points on the wings, and that then got further modified into the F-100D, which became a pretty good fighter bomber in the early stages of Vietnam. There's also a two-seat version, the F-100F. Those also became, in Vietnam, some of the early Wild Weasels before they were replaced by the F-105s and then eventually the F-4s. In 1958, they began to be withdrawn from service. Other aircraft were coming in that were better, in the interceptor role. You had the Delta Dagger and the Delta Dart and the F-101. So further down the Century series was coming in and quickly able to outperform the Super Sabre. So they started getting withdrawn, but because of some of the world events that were going on in the early 60s, including what was starting to develop in Vietnam, they started to bring them back into service because they just needed aircraft. So that's how the Super Sabre ended up, even though it was effectively outclassed by other aircraft, still ended up being used in Vietnam. So let's take a look at the kit and see what we got here. So this issue here was part of what they called the Academy series. kind of, celebrating, the Air Force Academy itself. You got the marking on here for the Master Modelers Club, and they make mention of a collector's stamp that's included inside, so we'll take a look at that. But interesting that they're using a pink color, for this, but I guess that stands out on the shelf. So on the side here, we've got a copyright 1962 and the California address. Interesting that they've got, a set of bombardier wings on here. Even though this is a fighter bomber, anybody that was flying this was going to be wearing pilot wings, not bombardier wings. And really bold type here. On this side, you've got it talking about the simplicity of the construction and Revell guarantee. And on the end, we've got repetition of the top box art, kit number on the end, and same thing on this side. Nothing on the bottom. This was originally a taped closed box. Slide it open. This is still one of the lithographed wraps, which is pretty cool. Always gets a nicer look on the boxes, I think. And surprise, we've got a sealed kit from '62. So I am going to do the first opening of this so we can take a look at what we got. Now, some of you watching at home are gasping, but it's not like this is the rarest kit in the world. And these things need to be out and seen and put together and enjoyed. So the first thing we'll take out is going to be the instructions. And get that little stamp thing they were talking about. I think that's what this is. Yep. So this is the Master Modeler stamp. Yep. So maybe there's a little folder or something you put this in. So I don't know if you like sent in for a book, but you could keep these in. So it's just talking about the Master Modelers Club, so maybe there's information about that. We'll see. Maybe there is a book you get. But that's it there. I think this is the original box art from the 1956 release. That's kind of neat. And then we've got this. Oh, this is cool. So you got start exploring with science around you. So you get flight, an album, full color prints of B-47 DC-3 prototype jetliner, one-man helicopter, wall chart, blast-off record, science bulletin, album file. Collect and preserve your science albums. So that's kind of neat. 2 picture cards above are very valuable. There are 24 different ones in the series. Detach these cards and trade them with your friends. You collect all 24, you can save them in science program that will ship to you. That's pretty cool. Oh, there we go. That's all the stuff you get. All that for 10 cents with membership. That's pretty cool. Oh, so you have to do with a bill for $1 plus shipping. That's kind of neat. And then these cards here look like Revell. That's definitely the box art for their reboxed B-52 with the X-15. This may be a catalog photograph of the Scorpion kit. I don't think that was used as a box cover. And then you got information on the back. That's pretty neat. I don't think I've ever seen this before. That's one of the bonuses of opening up an unopened kit. And then we've got our decals. Oh, we get a second one of these. So that's that. Let's take a look at the instructions. So it's a one-page sheet. Got quite a bit of information about the Super Sabre on here. It's interesting here. It talks about specific aircraft being at an Air Force base, Foster Air Force Base in Texas, and naming the actual commander. And he's taking delivery of the planes, and there's a quote from him: "They will add materially to the Tactical Air Command's ability to strike back in a hurry in the event of any attack." So then you've got some information about how to build models. Here's putting together your fuselage. Here's some more about the Master Modelers Club. So that's different from the Science Club. Then on the back here, we've got your wing assembly. They're showing you, say, sticking on the decals as you're assembling it. Get your landing gear, and we've got the fun part of melting the axles down. Gluing the landing gear on the bottom, your canopy, and final assembly is sticking on the ordnance on the bottom. So there we go there. We'll take a look at the decals. Even though they were sealed inside here, they have yellowed. But they look okay. These might, put them out in the sunlight, the yellowing might go away. They might still be usable. On the back, explanation of how to apply them. And again, the address for Revell. So this is of an actual aircraft. This is an F-100C-1. Serial number is 531711. It's coded as FW711, as you see on there, and it was constructor number 214-2. This was actually the third C model built. It was retained by the Air Force for testing. It was utilized in the weapons testing itself. So fortunately, I don't have any additional information as to when it was actually struck off. But it was being used. I don't think this was actually assigned to a squadron. Probably lived out its days doing the weapons testing, and that was it. But I was able to find some photographs of it, so we'll show those to you here. Okay, so I've taken the parts out of the plastic bag, make this easier to show you. So it's molded in this fantastic silver, and as it's showing its age of being a earlier 50s mold, being that it's got the molded on marking locations, raised panel lines, rivets. There appears to be a bit of a warp to this. Sitting funny in the box forever. And kit part numbers are molded on this one at least. So that's your lower wing. Here's your upper wing. And same thing again. Not a lot of flash, but you do have stuff on here telling you that this is the right wing and this is the left wing, 8L and 7R. This tree does have number callouts on the tree. Get your pilot figure. It's looking over on the side. This looks kind of similar to pilot figure set up on a couple of their other kits. There's your jet exhaust. Wheels don't look too bad. Fairly well detailed. And your gear doors have got ejector pin marks on them, unfortunately. And your landing gear. This tree has the nose cone and parts for some of the bombs. And there's your pitot tube. And now we've got fuselage half. Same thing again. We've got raised markings, raised panel lines, riveting. And this tree has the larger fuel tank and some more bombs. The other half of the fuselage got some flash on this one. And a couple more bombs that have come off. One of the landing gear. Here's our canopy. Not too bad, a little bit scuffed. Framing is on the inside. Yep, that's going to make it hard to paint that. But pretty thin. Good thing they gave you kind of a nice pilot and cockpit that you could see through that. But painting that framing is going to be a challenge with the framing on the inside. And finally we have our tailpiece. And this does have some engraved lines on here. And we've got Revell copyright 62 on the tail. At least it's on the bottom. So that's it. So that's your kit. Pretty neat little kit for the time. So this kit was, as I mentioned, originally issued in 1956. They did do, Revell did experiment with some bag kits for a while. Probably saw the success that Airfix and Frog had with doing some bag kits. So Revell did try it. So there's a bagged version of this. It was a little cheaper. It's part of what they called the Air Cadet series. And then in '61, they got the new artwork from Jack, and that was part of the Academy series. And then there's the '62 version, which we have here. And '64, Revell of Great Britain issued this version of the box art as well. Revell Japan in 1969 utilized the new artwork that was on here. Then in '75, the issue from Revell in '75 is using a photograph of the model. That was part of that '70s truth in advertising shift, where most of the box art was gone and you just got pictures of built models, and it's kind of the low point of model kit boxes. Revell of Great Britain also did a photo model in '75, and Revell Keykoler, which is Brazil issue in '75, also did the photo of the model box, or the box with the photo model. And Revell Odella used the 1961 issue of the box for their issue in 1979. 1987, there was some new artwork that was done. And sometime in the 80s, Revell Ceji, CEJI, which was a French distributor, then picked up this kit sometime in the 80s, and they were using the photo box from the mid 70s. And the kit kind of disappeared for a while, but Atlantis, as part of their acquiring of a lot of the old molds from Revell, acquired this one and reissued it in 2022 with all new box art. So I guess maybe the original artwork is gone, and so they're utilizing some new art on there. So that's it for today. If you've built this kit, tell us about it in the comment section. If you got it sitting on your shelf, it's been around for quite a while, so Maybe some of you built this and got it still sitting on your shelf. Take some pictures of it and send it in so you can include it in the next viewer build video. Well, that's all for today. Thanks for watching, and have yourself a great rest of your day.